And welcome back to Inside Poland for the second part of our programme. Poland's EU presidency will end on December 31st. It has taken place during one of the worst periods in the bloc's history, with the Eurozone fighting for survival and the UK drifting further away from Brussels. The European Union is facing an existential crisis. How has Poland fared in these stormy conditions? What do Poles think about Europe, about their presidency? Let me put these questions to my guest, starting to my right with Mr. Tomasz Orłowski. You're the Polish ambassador to France. Welcome to our show. Also on this set, back on the set I should say, Filip Ruszyn. You're the director of the Polish-French Civilization Center, a partner of France 24. And last but not least, Alexander Smolar, political analyst and president of the Batory Institute. Let me start, though, with the death of Václav Havel, former Czech dissident, president, playwright, an icon of the fight against communism and of the peaceful transition towards freedom, I should say. Mr. Ambassador, what do you remember of Václav Havel? I know he was very popular in Poland because he had very close ties with Poland.
Yes, I would say, many people think about France. My feeling is for us, for Polish people, we are losing a member of family. It is stronger than a friend. I think he shared with us all our life during 30 years, starting with.
You spent a lot of time in Poland at the time, meeting
especially in the border. It was illegal meetings with the Polish political opposition before 1989, it was in the mountain in Sudeten, and it was the illegal meetings in the mountain crossing the border. And it was the starting point of so-called Polish-Czechoslovakian solidarity. It was a movement showing how much we are close. And we are still close with Czech friends, with Slovak friends as well. But I would say the engagement of Havel was common for all of us.
Mrs. Smolar, do you agree? Europe, Poland, the Czech Republic, and the Slovaks have lost a leader, but they also have lost a true European.
Certainly, true European leader. He was not anymore for some time, but the man of great authority all over the Europe, and not only in Europe for his moral position. He was more, I would say, a moralist, a man of principle, of ideas, than a politician in traditional, conventional sense. To say the truth, he didn't like what French are calling usually la politique politicienne, petty politics.
Petty politics.
Yeah, exactly. So he was the man of vision, the man of values. Also an artist. He had very specific perception of the politics, also from the artistic point of view. You can see in his piece he prepared in the
his
film.
Last play was about
departure of a politician,
leaving politics.
Yeah, exactly,
and hopefully leaving a legacy as well.
Yeah, certainly legacy, very rich legacy, powerful personality, also because of its complexity, and he was refusing sort of monumental vision of a leader. He was a simple man at the same time.
So Orłowski, you wanted to add something?
No, I'm sharing exactly the same. I would say my opinion is that finally the values Havel represented, for us it is something every time necessary, especially during the crisis. I think now when we are focusing on euro, single currency, it is extremely important for the future of Europe, but it is not the unique goal of the European integration. And I think the reunification of Europe, the goal, it is more political one and more moral one, like Havel said, that just euro.
Filip Ruszyń, the new generation of leaders in Poland, in the Czech Republic, in the former communist bloc, is of course very different. They have a different history. They have a different history, I should say. But do we still have true Europeans among the new politicians in your country and abroad?
You know, the political scene of Poland is divided. Yes, of course, Prime Minister Tusk won the last election, and it was quite a success because for the very first time, the same coalition won the election again. Okay,
it was the first time that the government was re-elected.
Exactly. So this is something in Poland. But don't forget that there is always Law and Justice party of Kaczynski, which still represent about 1/3 of the total voters. So it's something, as a very Euroscepticism. And they are fighting, now that we are discussing in Brussels about a new treaty, they are fighting back for sovereignty, and for sure it won't be easy for the Prime Minister Tusk to obtain a vote on the new treaty, because there is a minimum of majority, and it won't be easy.
So Poland is still polarized, as you said. Now, on a completely different note, let's listen to another icon of the fight against communism, Tadeusz Mazowiecki, a former Polish Prime Minister. Our colleague Gulliver Cragg in Warsaw asked him his thoughts on the Eastern Partnership, one of the priorities of the Polish presidency.
If the Eastern Partnership is falling short of its objectives, it's the result of the political situation in those countries. Sadly, also in Ukraine now, after the imprisonment of Mrs. Tymoshenko following a political trial. And that situation is distancing those countries from the European Union. But we still support the Eastern Partnership, and we want to pave the way to the European Union for Ukraine and eventually also for Belarus. And solidarity is, of course, absolutely necessary. But in these kinds of situations, you have to distinguish solidarity between peoples from solidarity between governments.
Tadeusz Mazowiecki, a former Polish Prime Minister, former member of the Solidarity Movement as well. Mr. Orłowski, as we heard, the plans of Poland to strengthen ties with Ukraine and Belarus have been frustrated by events in the countries, the prosecution of Yulia Tymoshenko, former Ukrainian Prime Minister. Would you say that Europe has put enough pressure on Ukraine and Belarus to make it clear if you want closer ties, then you need to enforce law and you need to enforce the rule of law in your country?
Yes. First of all, let me say that we are happy that we convinced our 26 friends in the European Union to launch a new policy toward Eastern neighbors. It is the first point. For us, very important. We have, for the first time, the common European policy dedicated to the Eastern Partnership. After, it is a question of patience. You know, we know very well how hard it was to accept that the rendezvous with Europe will be in the years and years. For our Eastern partners, it is very hard to accept that we are saying, you know, the visa question, it will be in the long term possible to see. You know, we have to propose something. We have to propose the better understanding and for having better stability of these countries, to have better cooperation with these countries. And let me say, certainly we are unhappy with the results we obtained, for instance, with Belarus and with Ukraine. But when you are thinking, we negotiated, European Commission, member states, we negotiated with Ukraine the association agreement, who represent 60% of acquis communautaire. It means it is changing Ukraine. It is not changing from now, next year. It is medium, long-term process. And we have to be patient together.
Well, Mrs. Pollard, patience, of course, but I think Europe is running out of patience, particularly with Ukraine. When you look at it, things are going backwards there. It's not going in the right direction.
Well, let's say the problem is more profound, that not all countries of European Union were as passionately interested in Ukrainian accession as Poland after big bank enlargement. When Poland entered European Union, we have a sort of enlargement fatigue in European Union.
Even though Croatia signed its accession treaty under the Polish presidency.
So this is already an element of difficult situation. I think we've done a progress, not as big as we hoped for. And let's hope that, however, evolution in Ukraine's situation, because most of the thing depends upon Ukrainians themselves, will be in good direction. But it depends upon them. We can offer certain chances, certain possibilities, certain means even, but we cannot do the job for them.
And now talking about Poland and Ukraine, this year, next year I should say, in June, Poland and Ukraine will co-host the European Football Championship, Euro 2012. This will be, of course, another opportunity to put Poland on the map. Economically speaking, it will also be an opportunity for Poland, wouldn't it?
Sure, it's a huge rendezvous for both Poland and Ukraine. But in Poland it has a special meaning because Poland is building stadiums in every major cities, and not only stadium, because new infrastructures, because there's quite a lack of highways in Poland. So you have to see, you have to watch Poland with a very broad perspective, because Poland is trying to use the European Championship of football to modernize the public infrastructure.
And economically speaking, are you expecting big gains from the Euro 2012, Mr. Orłowski?
No, finally we are realists. We know the situation, the world economic situation. We will be happy to have the gains, but important is to have the real great game, and I hope it will be very nice championship.
Absolutely. Well, we'll certainly watch it on the France 24. We'll follow this very closely. Thank you very much indeed for taking part in this edition of Inside Poland. Now, before we say goodbye, let's travel to Warsaw to meet one of Poland's most famous actors, Jerzy Radziwiłłowicz. He featured in several of Andrzej Wajda's emblematic films such as Man of Iron and Man of Marble. We met him at the National Theatre of Warsaw. Jerzy Radziwiłłowicz, we're meeting you in front of the National Theatre of Warsaw, and this is your second home.
Well, it is. I spend a lot of time here, I work here, and that's where I work, and this work gives me a lot of fun and a lot of pleasure, and that's right, that's my second home. What you see here is National Theatre and the Opera of Warsaw, that's opera, and it was destroyed during the war, and the opera was rebuilt, reconstructed only in 1965. So I remember the great opening of Opera of Warsaw in 1965. And the National Theatre is this part of the building.
You play mainly in Polish. You have a special rapport with your own mother tongue. How would you describe the Polish language?
As an actor, I have a kind of love rapport to the language. And I think this language, the Polish language, I know it's difficult for you and for many others, but it is very beautiful. It's very soundful, very rich. It's true. And I like it. I think you can express many things in Polish in a special Polish way. You don't find in other languages, and this difference, I appreciate this difference too.
Ale dla mnie, dla miłości, jakąście dla mnie uczuli, nie żałujcie pracy, trudu około mojego syna, niech jego myśli kraina stanie się waszą.
You're one of the emblematic actors of Polish film director Andrzej Wajda. You played in The Man of Iron and The Man of Marble. How do you explain the fame of Polish cinema?
Those films, that was a period when the changes in Poland and in this part of Europe, you could see them already somewhere on the horizon, and they touched this problem very strongly. First, Man of Marble was the end of the 70s, and then Man of Iron during the Solidarity period, shot during these events that happened. It shot in the, I could say, inside the unfinished story. It was somehow like a documentary film.
A wy nie myślicie, że to buntowanie coś zmieni?
A wiesz dlaczego nie? Dlatego, że zawsze robimy osobno. Jak się studenci postawili, to robotnicy nie poszli, się odcięli od nich. Potem jak robotnicy poszli, studenci nie chcieli. Jak Gdańsk ruszył, to reszta kraju siedziała cicho. Teraz Ursus i Radom ruszyły, to Gdańsk siedzi i trzęsie dupą. Zawsze będziemy przegrywać, za każdym razem.
Ty nas nie obrażaj. Tu nikt dupą nie trzęsie. A ludzie swój rozum mają. Na żadne prowokacje nie pójdziemy.
They told some stories about a world who was coming to great change, and maybe also that gave them this international power.
Jerzy Radziwiłowicz, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this edition of Inside Poland on France 24. From all of us here in Warsaw, goodbye.